We've got a little bit more resistance up at 43. We run past the 38 a little bit. You got choices to make. $38 should be a decent level. But who knows, after the Fed announcement yesterday, everybody's in a big uproar. Well, I guess Mr. Saul is on his way to sunny state of California. Well, if you held on to your 38, you're getting paid. I'd like to see us come back to 31. But, you know, you got to manage the money. We are just bouncing around here. But like I say, you got your 38, you're getting paid, and you got a choice to, do I take what I can get? Do I have multiples on? If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. I'll answer what I can. And we're going back up to that high. Somebody asked the other day, said, I'm sorry, I put them in the chat, but I didn't send the numbers. Here, try that. Now, if you look in the chat, you'll see the numbers. Said I sure had a lot of faith in the numbers. And I mean, that's what we're trading. We have to have faith in what we're trading. So And they got it up here. They sure they don't want to get much of it back. There. Hold it on. We got some resistance up there, 43 also. I've said that earlier, but there's a little bit there. There's a lot of numbers on the way up and down. The pivot again was 40.27. It jumped just right there as I was putting the pivot in. Yeah, we're coming down toward our 31. Yeah, it's not what I want to see. If you're still holding some of them shorts, you may want to cover down there. I was trying to cover around the 31 area. It missed me by a tick. There we go. I'm surprised we didn't touch that 31, but it is what it is. Anyway, if you took the 38s, you got paid off. There we go. That, to me, it means it's technically it's just a better deal. All right. And we got a pivot at 27. We've got a little support at 28. Uh, technically, in what way? And for me and my way of thinking there, Terry, it's if I've got an area that it's got to come back to, I like it to touch that area. I had the 31 there, which it said, okay, this is what we should do this morning. It went up, we got short, it came back down to that area. So it did exactly what it should do, and I guess I'm saying that's technically. I know that we have some resistance at 28, little support, I mean, at 28, but we got a pivot at 27. Uh, we also have a number down at 17. Uh, 17, 18 area. I figured we'd be going down today. And a lot of this stuff, you have to have some idea what you think the market might do, so you can put these areas. And sometimes if we start down, or we start like we started up, uh, and I had the 38, well, I could have used the 40, I could have used the 43. But I said, more conservative to be able to get in, you're going to have to get in. And so we never know how much momentum these things have to go through a level. I wish we did, but so sometimes we have to go to a level, and we have to fade it one side or the other based on what we think the market might be doing. So we came back to our pivot. If you took our pivot, 27, it just keep on trucking on down. We've got a blue band down there coming in at about 2150 area, 21 and a quarter. I know we have some support at 23. How much? We don't know. Depends on how much momentum this thing has. But this is where, we may have support at a pivot up there at 27 and it run to 23. Or we may have some at 23 and it may just keep on trucking. We don't know. But our next level below that is going to be down at the 17 area. It just tanking right on down to that 17. We're looking at this thing, and no, I don't. The only thing I use my Fibonacci retracement tool for is I've got it set up in increments of 0.25, so I can measure a move and see about where halfway of the move is, and stuff of that nature. We're coming down. We've blown through the 17, and we're coming down to the 04 area. There's a little support at 03. I mean at 13. But our next level down here is going to be down at the 04. I'm not against using fibs. It's just most of the time I'm just trading price action, and there's more than enough trades there for me, and I'm not running around trying to push a button to put a fib on it to see, okay, if we coming back to this. I mean, most of the time I've already got a level sitting in there. All right. Should come back up into that 13 area. There was just no place to get long. If we can get past 13, I'd look to get back into that 17. But there again, it's going to have to show me something. I like the short side coming in this thing this morning, even though we were up. A lot of time for me, I was taught that that's what they call the head fake. They take out one direction and all of a sudden they stop, then they turn around and reverse the whole market. I've never figured out a way to truly tell if it's doing that, except trade the levels. I mean, once we get to a level, we trade it back to the other direction. We're coming up back to our 13 area. Let's see, back up to the top side. Let's see, I've got a little resistance at 13, probably 17, 18, and 23 right now. These are numbers that this market is changing as we open up and then we start progressing. This is what's going on. So keep the other numbers and use the other numbers, but just realize that if you happen to be long a position, that you may want to start taking profits at somewhere around these areas. Is it going to hit 13? It should, but if I get 1250, 1275 and I was long, I'd consider that good enough. It just depends on how accurate that you would like to be or how right you want to be. Right has a price to be paid for. And I'm finding out in my older age that, I'd rather make better decisions than be right. As the guy was giving a seminar the other day, says, made a lot of good points. It just, well, we got run over our 17 and didn't even slow down for it hardly. And the 04, you may want to use the other side, the 04, the 03. Uh, since we've come down close to it, Doesn't mean that it's not going to work. It just, yeah. If you took the twos or the threes, I think you'll be all right. You'll be able to get out of the trade if nothing else. Uh, man, it's brutal. Next level down is going to be 89. Let's see. I've got some support at 98. What big news do we have out today? Was that early this morning? Anyway, if you took the O2s, the O3s, you got to have to figure out what you want to do here. I still like that 13, but it is what it is. There we go. Well, it's giving you an out if you want it. Yeah, it's downhill side is was brutal. It's just blowing through. The had the O2, and I also was going to be prepared to buy the 89s down there. So I really still like that 13 area. But it is what it is. So we took a bad trade. It's given us a reprieve. It's either move my stop to O2 and see if I can survive that. It's awful close to that 05. Uh, or just go ahead and get out of the trades. No, the 13 I'm looking as a target area right now to get back to. Uh, a safer target would probably be around the 12. So you can't hardly all move that stop up to break even with just a few points in there because it's just too tight. But if you're willing to keep your stop down there at the bottom for a little while until we get another bar or so, then you should be all right. At least have your stop if you got in at the L2. At least have your stop down at 99. So if I can make a new high on this bar right here, I'd move my stop up to 02 or 150 somewhere in there. But I gotta have a new high. All right, now I could probably move it to break even and survive if it's gonna go. You know, but there's 4 points in the trade. You know, it turned out to be a bad trade. Is the question is it going to be a good trade? I don't know. It just uh, it's kind of like you just have to pay your money and sit back and see the movie, see how it's going to unfold here. It may go up, it may come down, then it may go. Who knows? I just had an area to get in, and I have an area that I think we might get back to. Uh, you know, if you got multiples on, take most of them off, leave one on, and fix it to where you're not going to lose any money on the trade. Then, you know, if you're out commissions, that's okay. But we're coming up on 9 o'clock, and but you can probably. There we go. Get on up there. We had a 4 number, and we got down close to it, and we revised that number to a lower number as we were going down. Uh, it the probabilities of it holding at that time. I said, well, you may want to be on the 3 or the 2 side on the downside. And we're looking to get back up into that 12, 13 area, which that's about where it's going. Uh, if we can get back above the 12, 13, then I would look us to see the 17, 18 area. Okay, the U.S. shrank second quarter, raising fears that the country could be close to recession. Unemployment figures for the week are in line with expectations. Yeah. Well, we got up to what, 1175? There's that 12, 13 area. Yeah, that. Well, we rotated up there, come off of it. Let's see. Do I have anything that I know that we're going to have to be above 14, 15 before we go up any higher, I believe. I can see us coming all the way back down to 4,000. Well, we sucked pond water on that 17. You had to stand some heat on I'm calling it 03, 04, 03 area. Uh, but if you were able to, if your stop was big enough, or and I'm not advocating everybody change their stop. Please don't do that. It's better to lose 3 or 4 points than it is to lose 10. It's a whole lot easier to make up. All three markets are down. That 4,000 is a big level. Yeah. It's getting choppy now. Now we're seeing numbers on both sides of this thing, like a run back to 4,000, back to 17. And it may do both. We don't know that. But, I had a place to get short at the 8 area. Uh, I'd like to see it get down to 4,000, but I don't know if it will. This is a scalp. I'm not giving my money back to them. It may pull all the way back up into that 8 area, but Yep, I'm out. And there's a lot of times I see where it should go to, and I'll take a scalp in that direction. And if I get 50% of the range, there's a 4,000. But right now we're back to twiddling our thumbs again. Let's see if we can't test that low again. Man, it sure is quiet around here without Saul making noise. I would look to get back up to that 6.25 area. We only got the 575. Yeah, doesn't he though? That Brad's a handsome fella. Here you go. I know they're just not letting it quite get to where it needs to go on the upside. The only trade I'm doing right now is I'm trading the price action trades. Uh, I took that 4,000 back to the six. It didn't quite make it. I bailed the trade. Our next level down is going to be down at the 89. We're going to get to see what happens when we get down to 96. Yeah. I still like that 4,000 to that 6 area. But if it doesn't give me something, uh, my stop is at break even. If it comes back to 4,000, I'm out. I'd like to get a little more out of this trade, but it doesn't look like I'm going to. Yep. Stop me out. Now watch it run on up there. Oh, well, that's what happens when you try and run tight stops. But, I didn't lose anything on the trade. So I would throw that in the category. That was a better decision. And or a better decision would have been just take you a couple of points out of the trade and forget about the 6. See if it'll pull back again. Yeah, look at that. I just love it when a plan comes together. I just wish I was on board with it. Yeah, we got the. Like I say, I would have thought we'd have touched 6.25. We just ran right up to 6 and stopped. Um, yeah, Pat. I'm running 5 points. It, like on that 4,000, I had a 97 stop. It was just, and I was looking for 4,000 to the 6, and it went up there and it got around 2 something and pedaled around, and I just run my stop up to break even and got taken out of the trade. Uh, I didn't want to lose any money on the trade, and we can still go down and test the bottom down there at 96. But we're back to the '06. The trade did what I thought it was going to do. I just didn't give it enough breathing room. Uh, I'm trading between the trades. I'm trading the micro levels, but I'm also doing it on a smaller time frame chart. So there's a lot more trades in there, but you can't. If you're going to trade off of a 5-minute chart, trade on a 5-minute chart. If you're going to trade on a 1-minute chart, you have to trade on that 1-minute chart, and you have to realize that your profits and your losses will be smaller on that 1-minute chart. So there, if I've got a 4-point stop on a 5-point stop on a 5-minute, I might have a 2.5 point stop on a 1-minute. Looking for it's a price action play. It's not okay. I'm going to buy it here and it's going to go through the roof. Well, we've done hit our levels. So now I am price action trading between the areas and stuff like that. Basically, I'm pretty well done. I'm waiting for something else to show me something. Uh, I would look to get back to the '08. Uh, but if you bought down here, you know, it's kind of like, okay, where am I wrong? Well, if you were able to buy the twos or the threes, you're looking at 5 points. So your stop's going to have to be down at that 96 area. And a lot of it is look, do I believe it's going to do this? Yeah, but I can't tell you when. But if you were able to see what it was doing, you were able to buy the twos or the threes, and you could have made a little money out of it and got out. See, we're coming back to this too, and problem with going up there is we may have to come way down here first. So then, you know, if we come down and it drops all the way down into that 89 area, then turns around and runs all the way up to the '08, that would be a better play. Uh, you know, until about 9:30, 9:45, this market, these first few bars is there's a lot of people just jumping in it directionally and jumping out. But you know, if you really wanted a tight stop in there, you know, you jump in somewhere in here and you stops at 4. But 4 is going to be awful close. See, and we could hit that 96 and it just keep tanking. So you just can't buy it. I mean, but you know, if you like the fours, you could buy the fours. You just have to have your stop at 96. So is it worth it? And no, not really. Is there a scalp in there? Yeah, there's probably a 2 point scalp in there. So if you're able to buy the fours, you got 1 3/4 right now, 2, 3. So you know, take your money and get out. But you know, it should go back to '08, but it may not do it anytime soon. And you know, but the goal of you know, the first goal is okay. If I bought the fours, I'm wrong down here. Okay, but if I bought the fours and it went up to '03, you're there to scalp that sucker. You're not there to be right. The better thing is take some money off the table, move stop up to break even, and or just take everything off. Whether you're trading one contracts or multiples, you're here to. I was scalping that position. I know that 4,000 has been an area that you could probably buy somewhere in the 90s, 96s and go back to 4,000. But I'm not going to. But see, there it is. So there's just an awful lot of scalp trades during the day. Now, not all of them are on a 5 minute chart. I don't recommend anybody trading a 1 minute chart. There's plenty of opportunities on a 5 minute chart. I'm used to it, so I do it. But that's for me. That's and I don't mind telling you this. I just don't want you to try and do what I'm doing and start losing money. And it's okay to learn, get over there and get on that sim account and start playing. Said, okay, where's my stop going? We get back above 4. I would look to see 3 for sure. 8 would be better. And he could stop at 2 here and take off. We don't know these things, but there's just numbers in there that I'm trading from this number to this number to that number to that number. That's all I'm doing. And where should I expect a little resistance up here? Probably around the 3 area. Oh, Pat, I usually put on, I like to keep it down, 10 to 15, but there's a lot of days I'll do 20, 25 trades. If they're little, if the first of all, the market's not doing anything. So I am down to price action trades, and if I can make $100, $50 on a trade, that trade would have taken me just about 3 minutes to get to. It was worth 3 points. You just have to be willing to on any trade. It's just whether it be our levels, whether it be price action plays, whether it be anything. You just have to know where you're wrong. And if I took the 4,000, really I was wrong down at 94. But in the sake of things, 97 and a quarter, that would have been my stop to make 3 points. And then I'm sitting there and I'm watching it. I got my finger on the button. It starts going against me too much. I'll just bail the trade. I'll take a half or 1 point or point and a quarter loss and just get out of the trade because it's not doing what I want it to do. So, I mean, if you look at this chart, we are in a downtrend, so it's going to have to get above something to start really. And I had a bias to the short side today. So, but I'm also seeing these areas that we're bouncing and coming back to, and bouncing and coming back to, and I will trade them. Our next level down here is going to be at, what do we have? 89. But that 4,000 area is a area they've been fighting with for several days now. So for some, it must be a psychological barrier. If the bulls can keep it above 4,000, then we're going up. We're just that announcement that the Fed did yesterday doesn't have anything to do with today. So Then you got half to, yeah, I mean, okay, let's back up, Pat, a little bit. Let's put this in perspective. Pat asked, how many trades a day do I take? And I normally take somewhere between 10 and 20 trades. Now, 10 and 20 trades, but there may be 2 lots here and 2 lots there. So I may only trade it 5 or 6 times, trading ones and twos. So there's the only difference between yourself, myself, Saul, and a lot of these other guys is one is the amount of contracts we can throw at a trade and what kind of position drawdowns we can stand or how big of our stops are. You know, scalping, we try not to let these losses get away from us because they can, you know, there's nothing. If you got a 5 lot on right now, you could be down $3,000 or $4,000 pretty easy. And you know, I don't. For my account, it won't stand that kind of drawdowns. You know, I'm not a what you might call a wealthy trader. I'm just here to scalp money, make money, and take it out. I'm not trying to sit here and grow this big account. But that should be your goal is to have a big account. So when you just throw more at it and you make more money quicker is all you're doing. 1 point is 1 point, but 1 point on 10 contract is, you know, knew a guy that one time all he did, he traded like 10 lots, but his goal was to make 2 points and that's it. And so, and he was done for today. So that can be considered 1 trade or 10 trades. So a lot of it has how many, and you know, I've kind of been walking you through a lot of these trades that I'm seeing and areas that I think that, okay, we should get back to, we should be able to take this one. I know you could have taken that 4,000 again back up to that 03. Looking for the 08. But you know, if you're looking for that 08 and it's not going, you could look till now to next week and it still never make it. But if you're looking to get in and you're looking as the 08 as a direction we're going up toward that 08 and scalping, then yeah, that's what we're doing. You know, I want to be able to get in these things, these little breakout trades. And I had a reason to take profits at the 3. So there's, you know, trading that 4,000. I've done traded it 3 or 4 times in there. And so it's kind of like, okay, we're here. It's been an hour. The market is pushed down, stuck its head down below the low. And next question is it going to continue? Or are we going to see the level below it? You know, your guess is as good as mine. But when we get in these little zones like this, that it's chop, for me, I consider myself a fairly decent chop trader. I do better in a chop market than I do these big directional markets. It's going down to a spot, it's coming back up, it's going back up to an area. You can call it zone trading or whatever, but for me, it's easy. Tom Budsby used to call it low hanging fruit. And so, You know, when you sit down and you walk in, you say, okay, I'm just trading the price action. Okay, it's doing this. It went down. It came up. We broke this. We took the trade. We made a few points and we got out. It is that simple. And a lot of this has come from let me how can I say this? It came from Saul's teachings. It's a lot of stuff I already knew. But you know, and I've found this out over the years, I've taken a lot of classes and they've taught me a lot of good stuff. Each and every one of them. Just bless them all. They and their system worked for them because one is they had a belief in it, and you're going to have a belief in. I don't care whose system you use, this one or somebody else's or your own. If you believe in it and it's working and you're not blowing your account, then hey, trade that sucker. Ride that horse till it drops. uh, if we can get to 375, I believe we'll go on up to that 8. But we'll just have to wait and see. Uh, yes, this is all I do is I try. Well, I used to be in the greenhouse business, and I own a farm. Uh, Now, I don't own thousands of acres like Saul and Brad make out to be, and you know, it takes me about 2 minutes to walk across it. Uh, but no, this is my income now. This is all I do is I trade, and I tell you what, it's hard to make at first if you come in and you have a $5,000 or $10,000 account, and you're going to trade enough and pay commissions and data fees and all of this, and you're going to take money out of that account, your account's never going to grow, and you're just going to work yourself to death. So you need something that will allow you to grow your account so you can trade more contracts. And at the same time, I saw a deal the other day. A guy was talking about he had 2 traders. They both started with exactly the same thing, and we're up at our 8. So, you know, that was a good trade. 375 to 8. You were in it probably less than 2 minutes. He had one trader that they both took the same trades. They were both making the same amount of money. One trader was taking a draw. Well, let me tell you, it's taking me a while. But anyway, one was taking a draw and the other, and he quit his job and he was taking a draw and trying to live off of his trading capital. And the other was this guy kept his job and he kept adding to his trading capital. He would add a little bit, you know, every month, and plus he kept all his wins he poured back in there. So at the end of the first year, I think one of them made like 36,000, and the other one made like 40 something thousand. Well, by the end of year 3, the one that was contributing, letting his account grow, he was making like 200,000. In the year 3, the first one was only making 40 something thousand. So the numbers are telling you something. I mean, it's like everything else. Yeah, it's growing, but I'm not getting anything out of it. And I'm a firm believer in taking, you know, I've done it. and I'm sure a lot of you have done this. It's not my money. It's the market. I mean, it's the market's money. I'm not going to lose any money. The way that I look at it, anytime I'm in a trade and I'm profitable, that's my money because I have an option at that point to take it off the table and put it in my pocket. And I've learned that if you don't take your money, it'll take it away from you. But we laugh around here, make a joke out of it. This is probably the hardest, easy thing you'll ever do. And a lot of it comes from just sitting on your hands and waiting. You're trying. I can trade the chop because I learned to trade the chop, and I'm comfortable, and I like trading the chop. But the secret to trading the chop is okay. Wonder if it doesn't do what I want it to do. It's no big deal. I got to stop back there. If I traded this thing 4 times and I'm making 2 points every time that it's traded, and I promise you, I've made 3 on several of them, but just 2 points, and I've got a 4 or 5 point stop, I still made money. And then you start going back and you say, okay, if I'm trading this action, and how can I improve it? Well, the only way you can improve it is to cut down on those losses. So then you've got your hand on that close button, or that finger on that close button, and you're watching it and saying, okay, what's it going to do? Where are we going? How are we going to get there? Excuse me, I'm having to back up and look at some stuff here. Yeah, it did what it's supposed to there. All right, let me. $26. I can write down 40.26. Now, are we going to get back there today? I don't know, but if we start back up, that'd be a good target area. You can start with a $5,000 account. It doesn't give you hardly any breathing room, but if you're not taking big losses and you're not risking a lot, yeah, and you can throw one lot at it every day. Yes, you can do that. Used to, the rule of thumb was $10,000 for every contract that you traded. I mean, if you started out with 10, see if you start out with 5, and then depending on which broker you use, and there at one time, Interactive Brokers, to trade one account, you had to have a $5,000 margin. So that doesn't leave you much leeway in your account without a margin call. Some brokers only require $1,000, so you just have to do your due diligence wherever you go to do that. But that's the whole secret of all of this, is to take a small amount of money and turn it into a large amount of money, and that's where you're in it. I've taken courses, and they talk about business plans, and it's true. It is a business. And if you lose your money, you're out of business. And I'll give you one more analogy. If you take and you're in a position and it is a losing position and you're trying to be right, and another opportunity comes along and you have a smaller account, your business is shut down. You can't jump back in and make some more money out of it. Whereas if you go ahead and take that loss, you open up the doors to do business again when the opportunity arises. And keep that in mind, because there's a lot of times that it has happened to me and I've done it. And I'm telling you, it's not the wisest thing in the world to do. But yeah, there's a lot of people start with $5,000. Then the next question is how much are you willing to make every day? There's probably 22, there's 22, usually 20 to 22 trading days a month, barring any holidays or short days or something like that. So you figure I'm here just about every day, at least in the mornings. There's days that I've got to go do something that I'm not, but most days I'm sitting in front of a computer. And also something else, I like it. I mean, I like coming in here trying to figure. It's like a big puzzle to me. I'm trying to figure out what it's doing. Okay, where can I make money at this? And uh, to me, I think it's great. But I've always worked for myself. I've been in business for myself all my life. Now, keep in mind that I'm 70. So for me, this is a nice way to do retirement stuff. I used to be in the greenhouse business, and when the greenhouses got tore up by one of the hurricanes that decided to pay us a visit, I said, well, I can go back and rebuild these things. And I got to thinking about it. And I said, you know what? I said, if I don't do this, back then I was like 55. I said, what will I do? When you're 55 and you go job hunting, not a whole lot of people want to hire you because of your age. Oh, and I guess that may be some factor in it. I don't know. Uh, oh, hold on a second. Sorry about that. But we all come to this thing for different reasons. And in my case, it was kind of like I was going to have to go do something else. And all my life, I've done physical type work. And as you get older, you find out that, physical type work's not the best work in the world I have to be doing all the time. And let's see, we got a blue band coming up there at around the 14 level. And I am going to bail my trade. I am out of that sucker. Okay, earlier I was giving you some areas that we had, like the 03, 04, 08, the 13, the 18, and the 17, and we came back to that area that we blew through. Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's true. You just gotta mentally, and that's a when Saul comes in, we're back to the 18 now. And if we get above that 26 I was telling you becomes a really viable target area. Not that we're going to get there, but it's it's kind of like, okay, if we get a pullback and we get an opportunity, then the 26 would be a great area to go for. But if you buy it here, you're going to have a tight stop, because anything below 18, you're going to be wrong. So if you bought that 18s, 19s, then you're looking for maybe the 26. But if I got the 18s and I'm sitting here trading up at 22, I'm going, okay, I'm scalping, I'm out. Yeah. Yeah. It just, and the problem with that is that there's times that I get nervous. That, when this thing was coming down this morning, I'm going, I've this thing's got a lot of downside momentum. You know, I and I took it and I got run over. But hey, where I normally get in trouble is if I start picking and choosing. Sometimes I pick the right trades, sometimes I don't. It and I get let me get back. I'm running down goat trails, and forgive me. What we do is simple, and what everybody else did in all the classes and things I've ever taken. And let me tell you, I've spent a lot of money. I probably spent well over $50,000, and I know people that I know have spent more than I have. And but if you're not going to do like they do, then you're going to say, well, it's just not working. And and once you take these classes, you think, well, that's all there is to it. That's all I got to do. And really and truly, that's all it is. Saul's telling you, and I'm telling you, every day we come in here and we trade these areas. These are areas that we expect this market to bounce from. And so we're not doing anything really new. Uh, and as I see the opportunities unfold, and another thing that I have trouble with during the day is look, the market, I had a bias to the downside at the open. Well, it went up, then I got short, and I was already short. Come back down. I made my money. I kept a runner on. It went to that 31. I says, okay, it doesn't have to go any further. And I just bailed the trade. I made money on the trade, but I bailed the trade. And we're bouncing off that 23. We're going to get to see if we can make it to the 26. 26 is probably a good target area. But we had pivot at 27 too. And then let's see what. I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention over here. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to take the class to, I mean, yeah. You know, I guess when I started, we didn't have the option. I don't think we had the option back then to just come in on a monthly fee and just write the levels down. I mean, basically, Saul's telling you how he's trading this stuff. When he was, and I'm not sure if the rules apply now that he is not on the floor, but when they're on the floor, they can't telegraph their trades. The floor says, no, you can't do that. You can't piggyback. Now, you can give them the levels, you can do this, and you can kind of tell them what you're going to do when this market gets to these areas. But it used to be constrained by the exchange rules. And now with a room, here again, I'll tell you a story. There was a guy that I've got one of his books up there, and he writes in his book, uh, he was trading, and this guy asked him, said, well, you want to trade an account for me? And evidently it was a really large account. And he said, yeah. So he traded it, made the guy money over time. And he said, okay, I'm not going to trade your account anymore, and gave it back to him. Well, the guy, he had such good return. He says, man, he said, man, I want you to trade my account. And so he said, okay. So he traded it and he took it. And the first rattle out of the bag, he loses about $20,000, $30,000. Well, then he gets back in, he makes it all back, makes a little bit after he gets it up, $30,000, $40,000 above where he started at. He gave the account back to the guy, and he says, look, he said, I don't want to trade your account anymore. So the guy sued him because he thought that he should have made that $25,000 or $30,000 that he lost over what everything else was. And he says, I'll never trade anybody else's money again. I'm going, that sounds like some pretty good advice. Well, we only made it to 24.75. I figured 26 was really the actual target's about 26.50 area, but 26, it should have touched that. That's one of these should have touched it type deal. But this is just, it may go up a little bit and turn around and tank way back down, then go. We don't know, and there's nothing really and truly to trade. It's not giving me anything. I'd have to see it to go to 24 before I think we're going to go to 26. If we can make it to, well, yeah, there we go. Now, if it doesn't stop there, it should touch 26. There we go. Good. Well, we had a trade at 38. The first time to the pivot, it didn't stop it. First time to the blue band, it didn't stop it. The 17 level failed. The 04, I suggested that we go the level below that to 03, and depending on your stops in your entry, you could have made a little bit on that one. And then I just been price action trading. You could have made a trade back up at the 04. And so there is just a lot of this is doing this every day, watching these markets, watch what it's doing. And basically it's done a whole bunch of stuff this morning. But it did everything that, as I was watching the price action, what I thought the price action would do. Now, are we going all the way back to the top? I have no idea. I know that we have a little bit back at our pivot area, which was at 27, 28. And thank you, Terry. See you tomorrow. Have a good one. Guys, we're coming up on 10. The question now is, are we going to retest the highs? We're just trading around our pivot at the moment. Guys, if anybody has any questions, I will be in the background here. I'm going to take a short break.